My name's Elliot. I've had 6 years working with Monday. So before I actually start talking about it, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the company I work for. So we are a leading fire stopping company within the UK. We deal with social housing, hospitals, student accommodation. But in the last 3 years, we have grown 50% year on year. So our approach to fire in the industry is a complete approach. We go from doing the FRAs to a complete refit of a hospital, a school, where we will put compartmentation works in the building to make that building safe. So Omnitas and Monday. How do I know Omnitas? So after probably 2 years of working with Monday, because the business is so fast-paced, if anything wanted doing, the MD, the FD, they wanted it doing yesterday. So when I had my meeting with Visha, which was our account manager, she suggested to work with a Monday partner. And I'd never heard of Monday partners. So this is where I had my first meeting with Curran and I believe Philippe. So I started to work with Omnitas. I had a very warm welcome to the actual business. They were on hand if I needed anything. During that day, within a couple of hours, I would get an email back, and it just helped me within my business implement changes quite quickly. So, working with Global HSE Solutions, I had to find a solution to a CRM. But Monday isn't a CRM. Monday's a lot more than just a CRM. And with me having the experience at the jewellery company, I suggested to the senior management that we actually invested in Monday. Presented the pros to them, the cons. There wasn't that many cons, I must admit. They were using Sage CRM. And I don't know if anybody's used Sage CRM, but the interface, well done. The interface isn't user-friendly, it's not transparent, and this is what we needed for the business. You know, we're a leading fire-stopping company. We need to know where jobs were going wrong before they went wrong. And I knew, with my experience in Monday, that this was a product for us. So where did I start? So Monday was just a shell. You know, we bought into the software, and I can tell you when I first started, we had 1 workspace, 1 process, and 10 boards. You look at my Monday account now, we have 12 workspaces, 35 boards, and probably about 10 processes. So you can see it grows with the business, and as your requirement of the business, as your business grows, it grows with you. So one of my main targets when I first started with the company were processes and making sure they were embedded in the company. The company was growing, and we knew if those processes weren't there, then things were going to go wrong. So today I'm going to talk about our overarching process, which is our operational process, and social housing and councils. Because as part of the fire stopping, we do have framework processes for councils and for social housing throughout the UK. So I'm going to start with our operational process. So this is our process, is our contracts process, but there's a massive overarching. So you can imagine this is just one of the processes that our company follows. So how did I start? You know, I look at that, I look at Monday, how am I going to put these together? So I looked at it and thought, right, start with 1 board. So I started with 1 board. I looked at the process, looked at the departments and who needed to be involved in it and which processes needed to go where there. So now I will go on to our boards in a short while. Our operational process goes from sales, estimating, the operations team, down to our QS team, and eventually accounts. As in, you can actually see now within those departments and those workspaces, the actual spaces there, you have all the different boards. When you look at the operational team, it is massive. You know, we've got probably 5 or 6 or 7 guys actually in the operations team, and their individual job, they can be dealing with projects at £1.8 million a piece. So it was very important when I eventually designed our Monday boards that they became transparent. And this is where I actually put into place the operational process. So I started from the beginning where I thought, well, something's coming into the business, I need to record this. So it sits with our sales department. So that's the start of the journey of one job within our Monday database. So I actually looked at the process and actually put that process into the Monday board. So everybody that receives that job and that line item, they are then responsible for it. It goes to their board, and they have a responsibility to fill in their bit and have all the information there that they need to do their job. So what we do is it goes from sales. Then when we get the purchase order in, we then move it onto the contracts managers board. So it will stay on the contracts managers board for quite a long time through the duration of the project. The good thing about the actual board itself is when it gets to contracts managers, they have the estimating cost on it, but then they can actually look at a job and they can actually say, well, actually, how much is it going to be to actually complete this job? They do their cost to completes. And then throughout the job, we have the actual costs. So once a week, I have a report that I have to produce. So I produce this report which shows the transparency of every single job. You can actually see a job on there with how much labour, how much material, how much prelims, if everybody knows what prelims are. So I can actually produce this report, and my FD and my commercial manager can actually look at it and say, well, actually, we know this job is just going south a little bit. You know, we need to do something about this. But as before, we did have jobs that went wrong when they shouldn't have gone wrong. So this being the core of our business now, you know, this is the not just a database, it's a platform, because Monday does a lot more than I've just showed you here. So as you can see, it actually follows as well the KPIs of each of our contracts managers. So within the actual with their role, there are certain milestones that they have to hit. We have third-party accreditations, we have contract handover sheets, and all these elements of a job become they have to be done, because then we're liable. If something goes wrong in the future and we haven't done certain aspects of the actual process itself, then we're leaving ourselves open for prosecution, like the third-party accreditation. Third-party accreditation needs to be registered with IFC, one of our third-party accreditors, prior to work commencement. If we do not do that, then we are not covered in the third party. So that part of the information is such an imperative action through that process. So you can see how I've implemented the operational process in the boards. There is a lot more to it, but obviously I will be here all afternoon, so you can ask me a little bit more about that. I'm going to go on to our social housing now. So social housing and councils, we work with them in the homes that they give to, obviously, guys in the UK. With social housing, we have frameworks that we have to adhere to. There's certain statistics and service levels that we must hit every single month to stay in that framework. So this is when I sat down and thought, well, actually, the operational boards that we use aren't going to be suffice. Because when we involve a social housing, we have actions sent to us by companies like Risk Hub. I don't know if anybody's heard of Risk Hub. No. So Risk Hub can send us about 300 actions per month or per 6 months. You know, we've got a contract support team who work very hard at actually getting all these actions booked in with the clients, with the residents. So when I sat down with them, you know, I always have meetings with our guys and say, look, what do you need? What do you need to do your job? Because I can make Monday bend and twist and help you within your job role. So I sat down with the contract support team and it became very, very evident, should I say, that the service levels that we have to hit are things like sending the first letter to them, sending a second letter, and then it goes back to the actual council itself, and they actually write to them themselves. So we have like overdues. You can see from here, you've got the daily IFC certification, which I mentioned earlier. That needs to be done prior to work commencement. So this is where I introduced automations. So the automations, it can be when our contract supports team come in the morning, they can look, and within certain timescales, we need to send the first letter, send the second letter. So they will come in the morning, they will open the board, and they will see here where certain actions will move to certain groups. So they can look at their board and know exactly what to do when they come in the morning. That we are servicing the framework agreement, we're hitting targets, and they know exactly what work they need to do. So this is our social housing board. This is an action that's open. So when we receive a action from places like Risk Hub, and within one action, we could have, as you can see here, 15 houses. So what we found with Risk Hub was that we couldn't just look at an action and know exactly what was going on with it. You know, we've got all these houses to service, but how do we know that the survey's been done, the works appointment's been booked, and actually it's been completed so we can claim the money back from them? So with the actions themselves and the individual items, they now can look at them here. So you can see that the surveys, we've done 13 out of 18, that as a glance, they can actually see what they have achieved so far, and actually what we can claim back as well, and actually invoice at the end of the month. This was so traceable and easy for them to work at. Also, we've got our contracts managers and our projects managers that will look at these boards. At the top of the board as well, which I've actually cut off, unfortunately, you can actually filter the boards. So I filter appointments. So when I filter appointments, the contracts managers can go on, click the filter, and they know the next day what their site guys have got booked in. So it doesn't just service our admin, it services everybody else as well that's involved with either that framework or that project. So I'm just going to go through a couple of features that I use. So the brilliant one is, and I'm sure you'll find that you agree with me with this one, is activity log. So the beauty with Monday is, doesn't matter who's done what on it, you can trace it. So when the contracts managers say to me on a Tuesday, yeah, I've updated my figures. Right, okay, so get onto the activity log, screenshot it. I don't even email them, I just send it to them. No, you haven't. Please, can you do your figures? So that's one amazing. So it will do a whole board, but it will also do individual items as well. So you can go into it and you can actually see from that individual item what's been done actually on that job, not just the whole board. Also, if you delete something, which I've done plenty of times, you can actually go back to it and you know exactly what you've deleted. So that's one of the features that we use. The file feature is brilliant. So in each individual job, we have a file feature, which is brilliant for when we've done our surveys. So we will survey, we will estimate, we'll get the purchase order, and actually when it goes to invoice, we can have a look at the survey and what works we've done. Communication feature. So the beautiful thing about Monday is you can go into a job, you can actually at somebody in it, or 10 people in it, and send a message. So then what happens is you get a thread of communication. So if you are working on this project for a year and a half, that is all consolidated. So you haven't got to troll back through your emails and think, oh God, I've deleted this one, where's that one? Because you've got that flow there. And you can actually see any updates, any issues you've had. So it's absolutely brilliant. So board views. This is what I thought I'd missed out, but I haven't. They're at the bottom. So As I said earlier, we've got the appointments where you can just click on. We've got no access because it's really important for social housing that we report no access to buildings and flats. And the certification. So, there's just some of the features that I use within the business. So I'm going to go on to my last slide now. And I can actually say that this is probably one of the most important things in Monday, which I think has really, it's just been revolutionary for us, because they didn't have anything. When I first started at Global, we were working on a clunky server in a cupboard and Sage CRM. So I did all the changes of implementing Monday, going on onto SharePoint, because one thing I didn't mention within the jobs is you can actually put links there. So if we do have a folder that's got a lot of information in it, we call our client folder, our quotes folder, we copy the link and we actually put it in a link item actually on the board. So when somebody goes to the job, it's all in one. Everything's been brought into one, so you don't have to go anywhere else than the actual item or that Monday board. So dashboards. Wow. So dashboards, you can pull any information from any board and show it. So we always got live data. So as I get a purchase order in, I put the date it's come in, and it then pushes it onto the dashboard. So it's continually updating. So this is our estimates part. You've got the how many estimates we've sent out per month. It gives you categories of the estimates. So, what are the trends within the industry? What are people actually wanting? So if you look on here, it is quite small. You've got your passive and your joinery, composite doors. So you can analyse the data and where we're actually sending this out. And it's, as a company that's building, that has grown so quickly, this is such an important bit of analytics for us, really, to actually push the company onto the next level. You can create a pie and count. So actually, have the estimating team actually been working this month? Yeah, they have, because we've sent out 150 estimates, whatever, it's there. So sadly, that's the end of my presentation. But I am here all afternoon. If you do want to ask me anything, then by all means come and have a chat.